name is Idonas Hughes, as was just said. I'm currently advisor for Alpha Lambda Delta at California State University, Monterey Bay, and a professional member at large for National Alpha Lambda Delta. I'm also assisting with the Sonoma State University ALD chapter, another California State University chapter. I've compiled a variety of possible service projects for chapters that are on campus, virtual, or a hybrid mix. At the end of this presentation, you'll be able to download a list of resources. So everything I'm talking about, you will get. I started my professional career in housing and coordinated volunteer opportunities for my staff and residents. While in graduate school, I did a practica with service learning and matched students with opportunities related to their major or career. And I have a poll question that Eileen or Trish in the background will pull up. And I wanted to find out whether you are in person, remote, or a hybrid. There are a lot of mixtures, okay. Yeah. Hopefully, the way this is structured, there'll be something for everyone. Those who are virtual can consider the strictly in-person activities when you return to campus. Those on campus can still offer virtual opportunities to their members, and those, which are the majority of you, who are mixed or hybrid, can apply the options accordingly. I'm going to give an example of a possible project, a blood drive. If you are remote or hybrid, you can send your members a survey asking if they want to socially distance volunteer with other members in their area. From the responses, you can connect people in the same town and ask them to connect with each other to coordinate donating or volunteering at a local blood drive. These are some survey options that I've used. Qualtrics, probably the most. There's always SurveyMonkey out there and Google. If you're on campus, you can host a blood drive, provided you have space to social distance, or you can encourage members to donate or assist with the next blood drive near your campus. This also fits into the ALD National Service Project, Healthcare and First Responders. I'll talk more about this at the end. You can cooperate or offer a challenge if you think competition will help motivate members to do a little more. If the groups are different sizes, you can base the count on the percentage of members participating. Co-sponsoring includes other academic honor societies. The resource list includes a link to a list of national honor societies connected to specific majors. If there's not a chapter for your major on your campus, you may want to talk to your faculty about starting one. If you have an informal club for your major, you may want to consider making a national connection. In addition to other honor societies, you have your campus student governance that you can co-sponsor with. If you have a chapter of Circle K on your campus, that's another group to co-sponsor with. Fraternities and sororities, of course, and any other clubs or organizations. With your members, if you want some competition within your chapters, and especially since a lot are hybrid, you can set up a member challenge to do X hours within the month, the semester, or academic year. You can track the self-reported hours, and at the end of the challenge period, share the total hours volunteered and the list of locations. If members submit photos, which was talked about a lot in the previous presentations, if they do photos along the way, they can be shared to inspire others to volunteer. In the resource list, there's an organization called Reward Volunteers that will actually track hours for individuals, and through monthly drawings, this organization awards cash or prizes to the volunteers and to the organizations they volunteer for if they're nonprofit. Service survey time again, as this was mentioned, kind of the buy-in aspect. I'm big on surveys for that reason. You can ask if anyone has a recommendation for an organization accepting volunteer assistance, or find out if a member is already connected with a regional or national service organization. I'll share some local options to explore As mentioned, you can send these to members in the same area for them to explore. And I'll bring up another point that was brought up before. If you do kind of ALD and friends, you can have people bring their friends to get involved in things. And as was mentioned, that does spread the word about Alpha Lambda Delta. These local options are listed in alphabetical order. Some are going to be easier than others to adopt for social distancing. The American Red Cross, as I mentioned, the aforementioned blood drive. At an animal shelter, you can walk and or play with animals to provide human contact and interaction. Cleanup projects are available if you do adopt a highway, a beach cleanup, a creek cleanup, a park, or a trail cleanup. You can seek existing community or state organizations for support, as with Adopt a Highway. CSUMB did a beach cleanup co-sponsored by the Surfrider Foundation. Surfrider provided the gloves, bags, water, and fruit for the volunteers. You can also do community-based programs. I worked at a small rural campus in Vermont where the local food bank coordinated monthly dinners for the people using the food bank. These were catered by local restaurants. Our campus sponsored one and usually brought a lasagna dinner because it was easy to transport, and the students volunteered to set up the meal, work the buffet line, and clean up. You can coordinate or exist with current end of the semester clothing, food, and furniture collections in the residence halls if you have campus housing and or through commuter drop-offs if you're a commuter institution. Your local food pantry is another option for service projects. Volunteers at food pantries usually sort, distribute, or participate in collection efforts for the pantry. Habitat for Humanity is an international nonprofit organization that helps families build and improve places to call home. If you don't want to do a large-scale weekend or project over the break, there might be a Habitat for Humanity restore in your area accepting donations. Actually, I got my television stand from a local Habitat Humanity restore. For national disaster relief and aid, I'll talk about fundraising a little later. In California, there are unfortunately multiple fire-related opportunities right now. Power to the polls. With the election coming up, you can volunteer to work at your local polling place. And signs of support. As two popped in. Signs of support is for creating literal signs for first responders. During the fires when they were near our campus, local scout troops painted signs for first responders and posted them around the town. One example that I thought was clever read, "Firefighters kick ash." The last one is kind of a catch-all for young and old homes, hospitals, or shelters. Volunteers can read, sing, bring their pets, and play. Some activities can be done in person while social distancing. Some can even be virtual. And speaking of virtual opportunities, next, with some help from the behind-the-scenes people, we'll switch to a virtual opportunity that you can do on your own. You can either scan the QR code with your phone, or hopefully being dropped into the chat is the link for the hunger site. I'll give you a second to find these. And when you click the click to give it's free button, it will take you to a thank you box and a list of other giving sites. The way this works is sponsors will donate money based on the number of daily clicks. While I walk through the options, feel free to explore one or click along through all of them. There's a hunger site, and that funds food and support for the hungry. The breast cancer site funds mammograms and support for women in need. Animal rescue site funds meals and supplies for needy veterans, or animal rescue site meals and supplies for pets. The next one, veterans, funds meals and supplies for needy veterans. The autism site funds therapy and support for kids on the spectrum. The Alzheimer's site funds Alzheimer's research and support. The diabetes site funds diabetes research and support. The literacy site funds books and supplies for children. And last but not least of the top ones are the rainforest site, and it funds conservation efforts and the preservation of habitats. There's also greater goods at the bottom if you're looking at the bar, and then various topics rotate through the other two boxes. This is something you can actually send to all your members as a general resource and allow them to do very easy service. Some other online options to explore. As I was reviewing online options, I came across a site with the title of 9 Places to Volunteer Online. I will share an alphabetical list of the 9 mixed in with some others that stood out. I'm going to give you the basic description for each. When you receive the resource sheet, which will be posted at the very end of this, you can dive deeper into any that seem interesting. On that sheet, you'll see AARP, which is working with the elderly. They offer a volunteer option where you record or review audiobooks. Amnesty International Decoders helps conduct research into global human rights violations. Catchfire assists non-for-profit organizations with different tasks. Projects can range from a few hours to a few weeks. The Crisis Text Line offers 24/7 support for those in crisis. You have to be at least 18 to volunteer with the ability to commit 4 hours each week. Free training is included. During my undergrad, I worked on a campus 24-hour crisis hotline at the University of Maryland. It can be an excellent experience if you're considering counseling or any other helping profession. DoSomething.org, you get to enact social change both online or off to help solve real-world problems. Project Gutenberg is seeking volunteers to transcribe books into digital form or to proofread others' works, something for journalism majors in particular. Red Cross also has a variety of remote opportunities. If anyone wants to eventually be a curator at a museum, the Smithsonian Digital Volunteers transcribe historical documents and they edit Wikipedia articles related to Smithsonian artifacts and research. We also have translators without borders for those fluent in more than one language. If you want to take your online volunteering worldwide and apply your skills to world issues, United Nations Volunteers is seeking volunteers for writing, art, project development, and translation. I saw some projects here that you can work together with 3 or 4 people. Last but not least is Zooniverse, people-powered research that wouldn't be possible or practical without the help of online volunteers. Zooniverse, United Nations, Catchfire, and Do Something all serve a variety of organizations that have a variety of different opportunities. And this is another one, even if you don't decide to do something as a chapter, you can share this with your individual members as a resource. A little about fundraising and donations, as was previously alluded to. If you are remote or hybrid, you may have some unused funds that were set aside for food or in-person events. Some of that money you may want to consider donating. Another option is a chapter GoFundMe if there's a local organization or situation. We're currently doing a professional staff GoFundMe for one of our colleagues who lost their house in a fire. For those who are on campus and the many who are hybrid, sometimes your dining service, if you work with them, will allow swipes. And depending on the dining service, some can be converted into cash for donations or into meals for students who are food insecure. At CSUMB, meal swipes were donated and vouchers were dispersed to students in need through the campus basic needs office. In 2004, I was at the University of Nevada, Reno, where dining converted donated swipes into money for the tsunami earthquake victims. This is another area to include in your member survey. I'll skip using the survey slide again, but you can solicit the names of local and national charities and or provide a list of organizations and then have your members vote on possible donation recipients. And as I mentioned, you should definitely visit the Alpha Lambda Delta National Service Project. That link is in the resource sheet that will be coming your way. Projects you sponsor that relate to healthcare and first responders can be submitted to be featured in the 2021 Alpha Lambda Delta National Service Project video. The deadline is June 30th, so you have some time to do this and report it. My thanks. I'll do the graphic sources, and with any luck, I'll come back to you for questions.
Ooh, it's flashing. Great, thank you, Idonas. And there's the link to our service page, which has a lot of ideas for that theme. Each year, Alpha Lambda Delta chooses a theme. Doesn't mean that your service projects all have to be around that theme, but it's nice to have some focus each year. One year was animals, and this year is healthcare and first responders. So there's some ideas on that page. Some great resources that Idonas will share in the PowerPoint. You said there's links to other resources as part of the PowerPoint.
Yes, there's links to almost every, well, definitely every virtual thing I mentioned. You have a link for that now, and
okay.
Some other ideas that I threw in. Also, I've worked in large, small campuses in rural and urban settings. So if you want to consult for any ideas or how to make some of these happen, I've been doing this since my undergrad. So,
wow, great. Yeah. Thanks for that offer too. So what are other folks doing? Does anybody want to share what you're doing? We do have a question about coordinating the Red Cross.
Yeah, with the Red Cross, if you contact the office and let them know that you're a campus and you're willing to do a blood drive, they will work with you. They have a section that's solely for that, to get blood drives, and they like college campuses because they have young, healthy students to get blood from. So, they'll definitely work with you. I've done them on 3 campuses that I've worked on. So just contact your local office.
Yeah, they can need, there's probably a site in your community where students could go to. And I gave blood during the pandemic, like you can still do it during the pandemic. Lots of requirements with masks and et cetera. So they handle that well. But they'll come to your campus too, but I don't know so much anymore.
Yeah, I think you just have to have the space to do the social distancing and the students there.
Yeah, right, but there are ways. Laura's sharing that they do a socially distanced book drive, profit share. What is profit share? Can you say more about what that means, Laura, if you're willing?
Yeah, so it would just be an opportunity for people to come in to a restaurant that we partner with, and then
oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's great. Yeah.
Go to the chapter based on those monies.
Okay, good. Yeah, thanks. Food pantry are great. Especially food pantry. I mean, students could just drop off things like that's a pretty safe socially distancing. Again, that's if you're on campus and not.
And if we did a small town. I was on a campus in a very small town, and we got them to put a notice in their community paper, and we put signs up in all the stores, and we did we went out of virtual, we did a drive-by food collection and actually filled up a truck with people who just drove by, handed cans out to students on the street, and they went and sorted them and put them in the truck for the food pantry. So that was wildly popular and successful, and it was a shot in the dark that we did.
Fabulous. Okay. Anyone else want to share? We have a few minutes left. Do we have any other recommendations for online service opportunities? Our university is advising against holding in-person events. So, online.
And I think with the list of a lot of those, you can do the kind of distance ALD and friends. And there are some others that I'd found. Those were the ones that kind of had jumped out. But if you just Google online service, then ones for your area and nationally will pop up. I just took the ones that I thought that I'd heard the most over that I'd already done in the past.
Mm-hmm. I'm just looking at our site here because we put this list together quite a while ago. Face masks was one. There's a couple organizations and web links. So I don't know if this gets a little crafty. People have to be maybe crafty. I don't know unless there's kits, but DIY face masks. Like, can you everybody sort of help make masks and then you ship them somewhere so that everybody's still doing it at home. Raising money, you can do virtually. I think adopting a nursing home or doing something with nursing homes, the elderly, again, not in person. So could everybody from home create cards, letters and cards? So everybody, maybe give some guidance or do it together on Zoom. Everybody have blank cards and stuff and you write out letters and notes and then send them in the mail. Or maybe one person can hand deliver them or leave them in a mailbox somewhere.
Another option, there are virtual internships that you can do as volunteer opportunities through one of our educational partners who will be on a panel tomorrow. So if you're interested in something like that, stay tuned tomorrow during the ed panel sessions.
Good.